Hello. Today we are going to learn how to create this beautiful sunrise painting. So let's begin. I'll start off by securing the paper. Apply masking tape on all the four sides and gently press down all the sides to make sure no water seeps underneath as we paint. Now let's move on to sketching part. I'll do a quick sketch. First, I'll mark the horizon line. And then on the right side, I'm going to outline the river bank area. So here we have got a flowing water and grassy area next to it. And near the horizon, I'm going to draw the bushes, which will be the tree line. So this is little farther away from our viewpoint. Next, let us wet the paper. I'm using a mop brush to evenly wet the surface of the paper. This way we will be able to perform wet on wet technique. Wet the entire paper using water. Next, I'll take orange color and I'm going to apply it in circular brushstroke, leaving some white space for the sun. Spread the same color around the sun, depicting the orange hues in the sky. Same goes for the reflection as well. Next, I'll add a touch of pink around the yellow area in the sky to create that smooth, beautiful sunrise effect in the sky. The same pink goes in for the reflection on the water. You can further add some pink colors to intensify the pink hues in the sky. For the upper part of the sky, I'm mixing ultramarine blue and a bit of violet to get a nice bluish violet tone. Apply this color in horizontal manner on the upper part. Use the same color for the river below, blending it gently with the pink color. I'm further adding some darker strokes to add a sense of depth in the sky. Now to make the area around the sun stand out, I'll add more orange to deepen the glow. Moving on to the bushes along the horizon area, I'll use a brownish orange tone to show the sunlight hitting on them. And on either side of the bushes, I'll use Payne's Gray to create contrast, transitioning smoothly into the warm orange brown of the bushes. So you can already feel that sunlit effect on the mid area, right? Now using a clean damp brush and a tissue paper, lift off all the excess paints that's flowing into the river area. Next, we will intensify the sunlight around the main section of the sky. Make sure your paper stays wet during this process as we want to add the colors to blend smoothly. If it dries out, the paint won't flow the way we want it to. So be careful of this step. Let us move on to the grassy part. Here I'm going to apply a nice olive green shade as the base for the grass and ground. This gives us a soft, natural look to build on. Applying the same color on the foreground part as well. We will try to retain the white glowish effect around the horizon. So I'm going to lift off the paints using tissue paper and a dry brush. Lifting off some paints from the sky as well. To add some depth and shadow to the grasses, I'll add in a layer of darker green color, which will really help define the area and give it that rich, earthy feel. Around the horizon area, you might notice the paint is flowing downward because of the wet surface and also gravity. So to fix that, let's use a damp brush and some tissue paper to gently lift off the excess paint, keeping that area clean. So you can see once the color is lifted, it leaves behind a white bright area, which we don't want. So to balance that, I'm going to add a soft touch of orange over it, blending it nicely with the surrounding colors. Now let's go back to the grassy section. Here I'll add some brownish tones to create a sense of shadow and give the landscape more depth and dimension it deserves. As we talked about earlier, we are going to add some bushes around the horizon area. So to suggest that, I'll drop in a few colors to hint at the bushes and the overall tree line. For the sunlit effect, I'm using a warm brown tone, and on the either sides, I'll bring in a bit of paint spray to create a contrast and a transitioning effect. Alright, once this is done, we'll let this area dry completely and we'll come back once it is fully ready for the next step. Here I'm using a hair dryer. If you are letting it dry naturally, it would take about 5 to 10 minutes. Now that the paper is completely dry, let's move on to add the details. I'll be using olive green in a mid-tone consistency. Apply tiny repeated brush strokes. This will suggest the grass blades. Apply this on all the sections. And if you're feeling lazy to paint the entire section, you could just sweep your brush and create this dry brush effect. I'm also painting some smaller lines to break the uniformity. For the river, we will paint the ripple effect in the water. So use a color that corresponds to the underlying color. Like for example, for the pink area, use pink colored ripples, and for the blue area, use blue. Apply some dotted and zigzag lines to create a sense of movement in the water. Towards the foreground, paint some bigger lines because it is closer to the viewpoint. And around the grassy area, you could use some green or paints gray. Next, I'm going to define the shape around the horizon. So I'll use a darker brown color and gently glide my brush to create the effect of trees. So here I won't be painting each tree individually, but rather suggest their presence with loose brush strokes. I'll also add some ripples using diluted or watered down version of blue. I'll also add some ripples using a watered down tone of the corresponding color. This adds a sense of depth to the area by creating variation in tone. My favorite part aside from painting is adding birds. So I'm going to paint a few birds freely flying in the sky. Feel free to add as many as you like, it's completely up to you. Lastly, I'll go back to the grassy area and add some darker tones for shadow effect. So I'm using a thicker paint and will glide my brush to create this textured effect. You can skip this part if you prefer, but it's a nice touch to your painting. Also add few more grass blades in the same area. Alright, we are done with this painting. Let's go ahead and remove the masking tape. And there you have it. This is how our final artwork looks. I hope you enjoyed painting along with me. If you did, feel free to share your artwork on social media and tag me. I would love to reshare it.